Now we can talk about some things that are found in Florence and Darlington County that date back to the Cretaceous period, that is about 65 million years ago. Now here we have the toe bone from an ornithomimid dinosaur. Now ornitho meaning bird-like and mimid being mimic. So these dinosaurs were thought to resemble some bird species like the ostrich. This would have been one of the middle toe bones, and you can get an idea for the size of the dinosaur simply by looking at this bone fragment. These two objects both belong to a raptor. Now, if you're familiar with, say, the Tyrannosaurus rex, then this would be a dinosaur that resembled it, but on a much smaller scale. What we have here is the claw from a raptor foot. Here is a raptor tooth, and if you can see, it's in two segments. At one point, this tooth was separated, and both pieces were found by two different archaeologists working at the same site at two different times. Later, during the authentication process, it was discovered that these fragments went together. Here we have evidence in petrified remains of a palm tree that has been mineralized. Now this isn't the actual wood itself, in the same way that a sculptor would pour plaster into a mold. Minerals occurring naturally, perhaps in a riverbed, would, over the course of thousands of years, fill in the shell of the tree. And if you see here, this is where the bark of the tree was. And as I turn it around, you can see this red mineral here. This is known as chalcedony, and which grew within this petrified example anywhere from 10,000 to 1.8 million years ago. One type of plant life that is probably familiar to most people in South Carolina would be the bald cypress. Now, bald cypress grow all along the bottomland swamp areas of South Carolina and can be found in the lower South Carolina region all the way up into the PD rivers. One distinctive feature about the cypress that distinguishes it from other kinds of tree are the swollen, fluted trunks of the trees and these above ground root system, which are called knees. This piece of ancient cypress was found in a sand quarry near the Petey and Lynch's River watershed. And this ancient cypress has been dated to be about anywhere from 25 to 45,000 years ago. And the significant thing about this is that it gives us access to what was going on geologically at that time. Now this happens to correspond with the last ice age. So we have evidence here of what plant life was like during that time. Something that people might not be familiar with when we're talking about the PD rivers is that they actually originate much farther north of here, in parts of Virginia, but mostly in North Carolina. Now the Great PD River is not known as the Great PD River. In North Carolina, it's actually called the Yadkin River System. The differences in the distinct coloration between the Little PD and the Great PD can be attributed to sedimentary deposits. Now this coloration would come mostly from the eroded clay soils in the Piedmont area. Now this black water from the Little Petey River is more attributed to decomposing leaves and other organic materials in the riverbed. Who we are isn't only defined by who our ancestors were, but the natural landscape. Not just the rivers, but all the lands in between the rivers.